Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to this DT Hub Insight live interview. You might notice that I'm not Sam Charlton. I'm Tom Hughes, the delivery lead for the DT Hub. I'm stepping in for Sam because he's on paternity leave at the moment. A couple of bits of housekeeping for me before I hand over to Mark for him to introduce himself and start the interview. First of all, we're recording this session, so like with all of our Insight series and Gemini calls, we will be posting the recording onto the DT Hub media section for those that aren't able to attend live. Secondly, we are making use of the DT Hub Q&A feature. So if you've got questions for Mark or myself, you can ask those via the link provided. We'll be checking those towards the end of the interview. So we'll hope to have 5 minutes at the end for Q&A. Finally, just in terms of the purpose of today's insight session. The purpose of these insights are for us as a community to get some insight and understanding about some of the key members and leaders within the community. So I'll hand over to Mark to introduce yourself, and then I'll jump into the questions.
Brilliant. Thanks, Tom. So hi, I'm Mark Enzer. I'm currently the director of the Centre for Digital Built Britain, based in Cambridge, and I'm also currently the head of the National Digital Twin Programme, which is hosted in CDBB. And you notice I say currently, because all that's changing fairly soon.
Great, thanks, Mark. So for the first 5 minutes, we've got a section that's titled About You. The first question is, how did you end up doing what you currently do?
I think it's a passion thing, actually. I feel that we have the most amazing opportunity with digital twins, and particularly connected digital twins, to help to drive better outcomes for people and society and nature. And I think that's massively motivating. It kind of all started with the report that came out from the National Infrastructure Commission, and it was called Data for the Public Good. And that totally captured my imagination, thinking, oh, isn't that amazing? You can use kind of techie, geeky things to do something really useful and benefit people. So that's kind of how I'm in it and why.
And was that your first involvement with digital twins, or did you got any experience prior to that?
Well, I guess we have all had experience with digital twins, actually, because if you kind of go back, there's an awful lot of stuff that prefigures digital twins, and you can kind of see how it all comes together in digital twins. Back a long time ago, I was involved in digital transformation in the water industry, and we were rolling out BIM, and so I can kind of see one of the strands there. But also there's all sorts of stuff that goes on in the water industry in terms of control, kind of SCADA systems and those kind of things, which all kind of smell a little bit like digital twins too. And so I would say, yes, I have been involved in digital twins. It's just that I didn't know it.
Yeah. And do you have any standout projects, any favorite digital twin examples that you're aware of and particularly meaningful to you?
That's kind of unfair, actually, because there's so many, and I wouldn't want to kind of show favoritism if that's not too strong a term. But there are that do stand out. Some of the work that, for example, is happening in Anglian Water just now with the Strategic Pipeline Alliance is really visionary stuff, and you can kind of see where that can go. Another favourite, I have to say, is what we've done within the National Digital Twin Programme on Credo, Climate Resilience Demonstrator. And this is fantastic because it's a tangible working example of information flow across sector boundaries, helping to make better climate resilience decisions. And it just kind of, it shows what the National Digital Twin could do. It's amazing.
And they're great answers. I promise that we've not biased you in any way, but I know that we've got a really good case study on the SPA project in our case study library, and obviously on the Credo project, we've got a whole project page on Credo. So really good examples from the DT Hub's perspective, but yeah, we haven't asked you to say that. So yeah, just a good coincidence.
Very good.
The last question in the About You section is, what do you think is missing from the digital twin landscape right now?
Oh, it is a good question. Because there's so much that we do need to do going forwards. And one of the things which I'd be quite interested to talk about is that landscape, the wider landscape, because what I see is that the landscape is broadening. It's getting more interesting. And so across that landscape, I see some very, very good stuff happening within industry, where you can see digital twins being developed. And I already mentioned Credo, where we kind of seeing connections between digital twins, but also there's going to be some very good stuff happening in academia, and hopefully some interesting research programs. And then there's also some very interesting, useful stuff coming out of government. And so I think when you add all that together across government, industry, and academia, it's a very, very interesting landscape. My view is that landscape needs to be joined up. It shouldn't just be good stuff happening in isolation, that really we need a coherent narrative that joins it all together. So I think maybe for me, the thing that would be missing just now is that convening, connecting, coordinating that sees this developing, interesting landscape really come together.
Sounds like perhaps some signposts to navigate that landscape, make it easier for people to kind of understand the breadth of everything that's going on.
Yes, yeah. absolutely. But I think it's also to bring together the key players.
Okay.
Because this is now too big a thing to just be in one centre. There are lots of people doing lots of good stuff, and I think what we have to do is kind of bring it together, not in a command and control way. I don't think that would work, but I definitely think that it should be connected, should be coordinated. I can imagine sharing roadmaps, having a coherent narrative across the landscape, and those kind of things would be really useful.
That sounds like a really good point to move on to our next section. So the next bit's talking about the Digital Twin Hub and transition. Particularly with CDBB coming to the end of its mission. So the first question here is ultimately what will happen to the Digital Twin Hub as CDBB reaches the end of its mission?
So I think some very interesting stuff happening with the DT Hub. And what I hope it will feel like to people in the DT Hub is that it just carries on, because the DT Hub was the DT Hub. It will carry on being the DT Hub and carry on doing some of the fantastic stuff that it does. Hopefully it can expand and do some even more amazing stuff. But what changes is the host, is the home. And so, as you've indicated, the DT Hub has really benefited from being hosted by CDBB. CDBB has been an absolutely fantastic host. But like you say, that's coming to an end. And so we're now looking at a new home. And that new home is a kind of a partnership between industry and the catapults. I think it is very exciting. You can't get away from the fact that this is a very exciting move, because I think what it points to is what the DT Hub really needs to be all about. It's bringing people and content together, and having the industry involvement right at the core is absolutely crucial. The DT Hub needs to be the voice of the industry, but the catapults are ideally placed to provide support and access to different sectors, new ideas. So I think that the industry catapult connection is very exciting indeed.
And in terms of what that means for members, I know very little initially. The DT Hub kind of continues. What might it mean for kind of the membership of the DT Hub and how the DT Hub looks, operates, performs in the future?
I mean, all of this is to be worked out, as you can imagine. But I think to try and give a kind of a sneak preview of what might be happening is that we are looking to form a strategic board that would drive the strategy and the direction of the DT Hub going forward. And that strategic board would provide genuine representation for different constituencies across industry, but then also the sectors represented by the catapults. And I think this is where an awful lot of the opportunity will come from. Because we can see already in the DT Hub some very important industry constituencies. Maybe kind of number one amongst that would be the owners, the owner operators, the people who will own and buy digital twins, but also really important constituencies around the vendors and around advisors. Also, I would say around investors and insurers. And you can kind of see that the industry is not just one thing, it's many things. And if we can work it out that those constituencies are genuinely represented on the strategic board, then the strategic board can drive the DT Hub forwards in a way that the industry needs and wants. And I think that's where the great opportunity will come, because the DT Hub should be kind of by the DT Hub for the DT Hub. It's all about the members and what is most useful. So I think that this way forwards, with representation on the strategic board, will be a really interesting thing to unfold.
Yeah, I can't wait to start I guess receiving some of those requirements from the strategic board and thinking about how we as the hub can support them, and ultimately go through that next phase of growing the DT Hub. Also in this theme around transition, what does it mean for projects such as Credo?
Well, hopefully the DT Hub can be doing projects as we go forward. And again, I need to kind of express an element of caution, because a lot of this does need to be worked out. But the firm hope would be that the DT Hub isn't just a talking shop, isn't just a place where it's nice to be and there's some useful content or some fun events. And those are really good things, by the way. I don't want to denigrate them in any way. We need that. But also the DT Hub can have some projects that get stuff done. Get stuff done that benefits the members of the DT Hub. And Credo, I think, has been fantastic. It's been literally amazing what they've come up with, but really useful learning, really valuable insights for members of the DT Hub. And so that kind of shows the value of having projects. But I think that if there are projects which are initiated by the DT Hub and then kind of staffed by the DT Hub, maybe I should say made to happen by the DT Hub, that benefits the people on the DT Hub, you can see how it can really take it forwards. And then I think there's something else which is important in this project space, is that we shouldn't just do stuff, like a whole bunch of random stuff, that there should be a bit of a roadmap and understand where it's going. There should be a connection between the projects. It should all have meaning, kind of fit together. And I think that's one of the reasons why it will be so useful to have the strategic board, because the strategic board will know where it needs to go to and would own the roadmap, would have this view as to what is useful, and then the projects will fit into that. So I think there is a connection between what I said just now about the strategic board and what I'm saying right now about the projects.
Yeah, I agree. I think looking back across the journey of the DT Hub, you can always see the biggest events in terms of bringing people together, engagement, discussions are always those big projects. So I think understanding how they kind of continue and can continue to be supported with the hub as being that platform for others to understand and engage with, feels like the right way forward. The last question around this piece on transition is about CDBB Week. So kind of what can you share in terms of what's happening and how people on the call and from within the community can get involved?
Yeah, so that's this week. It's right now. I mean, I guess in some ways this webinar is a bit of it. Yeah. But one of the key events during this week will be the publication of a book, a celebratory book that really looks back and celebrates the people who have been involved around CDBB and the wonderful things that those people have done. So it's a celebration of people and things people have done, and that should be published on Wednesday. I've seen the book and I think it's amazing, but I guess I would. Fantastic people, fantastic stuff done, and so many people. When we add up all the people who have been involved and contributed down the years to CDBB, it's a lot of people, and hopefully there's even more people have benefited from it. And I think that's a true thing. So that's one. It's the publication of a book. And then on Thursday, very exciting, we've got the publication of the Gemini papers. So when the book looks backwards and celebrates what has been done, what the Gemini papers are all about is looking forwards and trying to kind of leave behind something that will be of value for those who pick up the baton and carry on. So the stuff that we have learned over the years, things which we now know to be true, we've kind of captured those, got the essence of them, written them down, and said, this is what we know to be true, and particularly in relation to what we now know is needed for the success of national level digital twin programs. And so hopefully those papers, which we're calling the Gemini papers, will be really useful, not just in this country, but more broadly as well. It's kind of the summation or the summary of a lot of the things which we've learned. And so quite a lot of exciting things in this week.
Yeah, they both sound really good. I like that framing of the kind of the look back and the look forward. And yeah, I expect we'll see a lot of engagement on the DT Hub around those key publications. So,
I hope
yeah,
so.
look forward to the discussion.
And also the DT Hub, hopefully, can pick up a lot of the stuff that's in the Gemini papers. And I think there's a load that you've been doing in the DT Hub recently to kind of identify what would be most useful next. Very, very helpful stuff. And hopefully the Gemini papers can feed into that thinking as well.
Absolutely. Right, looking at the time and just looking about the next section, which is your views on the future. So you've got a couple of questions here, and then we'll go over to the Q&A. The first one, and we've kind of heard this the whole way through, I think, but what excites you most about digital twins thinking forward into the future?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing as excited me at the beginning. If anything, I'm more excited now, because I think when we started on the journey, the whole thing about digital twins was quite new, and we were just defining what we meant by an ecosystem of connected digital twins. But now it's become much more real, and I'm amazed actually. In just a few years, the shift has been phenomenal, and we see it not just in this country but internationally. So I would say that the answer is the same as my original answer. It's kind of what got me in the first place. It's just that now it feels more real. We're kind of at that place where we're kind of into delivery rather than just development.
Excellent. And what would you like to see happening in the future? I think you've spoken a few times about, connecting together this landscape, probably realizing some of those benefits.
Yes.
But any insights on that you'd like to give the audience?
Well, I think from an industry point of view, there is so much really good stuff going on that there's no way that it can be controlled. It shouldn't be controlled. That's not the right thing. It should just happen. Industry should do what industry does. And there should be all sorts of kind of competition and innovation, and the brightest idea wins, and all this kind of stuff. The industry should do what the industry does best. That should happen, and you should have the people on the demand side demanding better and better digital twins, and the people on the supply side being able to provide better products and services. So what I'm trying to describe there is, the market should do what the market does. And I think we see that already. But it would be great if we could encourage it. And I think that the DT Hub is very good at this. The whole idea of learning by doing, progressing by sharing, I think that is just as relevant as it ever was. So we kind of need that, the industry to do what the industry does. But also, I think that we need to do something that kind of brings it together. And you prefigured this in your question, but there is a danger that if the industry just does what the industry does, that it'll be a bit random and it will go off in all sorts of different directions. I think that there will be real value in bringing things together so that we can collaborate on the rules and compete on the game. It's another one of those expressions that we've used through the program, but I think it's so real and so valuable that if we can collaborate on those rules, then it will mean that basically the industry has a bigger pie. And then definitely compete on the game, because that's what the market's all about. But we need to kind of get that balance right. And I think that when it comes to collaborating on the rules, there are some things which we could agree together that would make everybody's life easier and better, and we'll end up with not just better digital twins, but very much better connected digital twins. So that would be my answer in a kind of a high level kind of way.
No, really good, and I think kind of a perfect point to jump across to a couple of the questions that we received. I'll read these out for you, Mark, and then I'll let you think about the response. So we've got a question from Martin at Bin for Water. Who are the other leading edge countries and organisations that we in the UK can learn from and collaborate with? It's probably a shortish one for you.
Would you want to go straight off on that one?
Yeah, I'll go straight off on that one. Yeah, if you want.
Yeah, there's a lot of countries which are working in this area now, and there's actually quite a few countries which are starting to think about connected digital twins and are imagining that there might be a national digital twin program. And so we find that Australia and New Zealand are always interesting. Singapore is always ahead of the game, particularly on kind of the technology side of things. Closer to home in Europe, the Netherlands is doing some very, very interesting stuff. So is Sweden in particular. But then across the water, we see Canada kind of getting in on the game as well. America is always interesting because there's always something leading happening in America. But then when it comes to the kind of the connections between them, America is such a big thing that I think maybe the collaboration is more of a challenge. But you can always rely on good, interesting stuff coming from America as well.
Yeah, I've always been really excited about opportunities perhaps for the hub to kind of be more integrated with other international initiatives. We've seen a few early endeavors there. I think that's something that could continue going forward.
Absolutely. I think that would be so valuable, because this thing about kind of learning by doing and progressing by sharing, that can be done at an international level as well. And I think I just skimmed the surface, mentioning a number of nations there. I should probably mention Italy as well. Italy's got a nice little place to be sharing on the DT hub. I would love it if the DT hub could kind of be a collaborative hub of hubs, helping to bring kind of people together around this same subject area, because there is so much that's being learned and so much to share.
And we've certainly generated a lot of interest. I think it's around 20% of our members by number are from outside the UK. So there's a lot of people looking in, and a lot of opportunities to share knowledge. Another question from Martin. This one is looking at the kind of closure of CDBB and CDBB's focus on digital twins within the utility and infrastructure space. So the question is, how will the good work by CDBB carry on, and who with? Is the work being divided up? So continuity and integration may be lost.
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think it's good to recognise what fantastic work CDBB and the people associated with CDBB have done, and that's largely what this book is about, is kind of getting that recorded. The good work will carry on. It has to carry on, and I think it will carry on in a number of different ways in a number of different places. And so I think what we were talking about with the DT hub is part of the picture of digital twins going forward, but it's only part, because as I said before, this landscape is now becoming bigger, and if you add it all together, it becomes more impressive. And so, for example, we're very hopeful that the work on the information management framework would continue in the context of CPNI, the Centre for Protection of National Infrastructure. That's subject to funding being finally confirmed, but we're very hopeful, and that would be a good thing. I already mentioned that there's the likelihood, possibility, I don't know what the right word is to use here, but it's getting very, very close to there being decent research programs in digital twins. So I think that digital twins and everything to do with digital twins and connecting digital twins, that will hopefully carry on.
Mhm.
I think it needs to be connected, but that's one part. And then there's all sorts of other stuff that CWB has been involved in, particularly in relation to those words that describe the vision, the design, build, operate, integrate. That those same words are at the heart of the UK BIM framework. And the UK BIM framework is carrying on. There'll be continued good work in this space by the UK BIM Alliance. So I think that the stuff that CWB has been involved in will continue. It has to.
Great. I think they were excellent questions to kind of finish the interview off with. We're almost at time, so I guess it's really for me to thank you, Mark, for your time today, the insights you shared and shared with the community. As I mentioned at the start, we've recorded the sessions. The recording will be posted on the DT Hub. Also, because we have been using the DT Hub to do the live Q&A, if people get questions either now or any point in the future, they can kind of go back to that thread, pose a question. Either we as the core team or Mark, you're more than welcome to answer questions on the Hub.
Thanks, Tom.
So yeah, thank you from me. Thanks everyone for attending. Have a great rest of the day.